What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Bulls Report. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, Bleacher Report put out an article suggesting two blockbuster trades for our Chicago Bulls, and the first one we'll be diving into is Los Angeles. The Lakers trading for Zach LaVine. Are the trade rumors heating up there? And then also Ayo. Could he be heading to the Milwaukee Bucks? I think it's a terrible trade, but we'll give you guys my thoughts on the later half of today's show. But before we dive into that, guys, we're actually closing in on 9,500 subscribers here. So first off, just want to say thank you guys so much to everybody who's hit that sub button so far. But we just need 111 of you guys to hit that subscribe button and help us reach our next milestone here at the Bulls Report. So hit that sub button, lock us in, don't miss a thing around your Chicago Bulls. Now, could LaVine be heading to the Lakers? So Bleacher Report put out an article suggesting 5 blockbuster trades before the season, gets underway in a couple of months from here. And, they had the Lakers trading for Zach LaVine. And if I had to predict a team to trade for LaVine before the season starts, it's got to be the Los Angeles Lakers. That is really the only fit that makes sense. And this was the trade idea they threw out there. It was the Bulls getting 4 players in this deal. I will make this note first. I don't necessarily think this makes a ton of sense. The Bulls only have 1 open roster spot right now, and I don't think they would be a fan of cutting, some players to bring in like a Jared Vanderbilt or a Jackson Hayes, level of player. But the Bulls are actually receiving Austin Reaves and Rui Hachimura in this deal as well. Now, I'll make this point first. I would hate this for the Bulls unless the Bulls could potentially flip a bunch of these players very similar to what the Boston Celtics and the Portland Trailblazers did last year. So if you guys remember, when the Milwaukee Bucks traded for Damian Lillard, the Portland Trailblazers received Drew Holiday in that deal. And everybody was kind of confused. Why would the Portland Trailblazers want Drew Holiday? Well, then what did they do? They proceeded to flip him to the Boston Celtics, and they ended up giving Malcolm Brogdon, Robert Williams, and 2 first-round picks. Now, I think the Bulls could do a very similar thing in this deal where, obviously I would prefer picks over players, but let's just say the players you get, you could then flip them for future draft capital. That's a situation, and that's a move I would be all in for. And I actually think a guy like Austin Reaves would command maybe not the same trade value as Drew Holiday, as Holiday is just a more valuable player out there on the open market. But I think the Bulls could get a first-round pick for Reaves. I mean, this is a guy who, averages 16, damn near 5-5 so far in his NBA career, undrafted out of Oklahoma. He plays with so much swagger out there on the basketball court, which, I'm a big fan of. But I could see a championship contender viewing Reaves as maybe that 3rd, 4th scoring guard, and they could bring him in, and maybe he's the guy that gets them over the top, or even a guy like Rui Hachimura. Now, I do think these big physical forwards are going underappreciated in the NBA. Like, I think about a guy like Aaron Gordon and how valuable he is for the Denver Nuggets. It has the ability, stretch the floor, knock down corner threes, can also guard physical forwards, but he also has the foot speed to keep up with some 2s and 3s in the NBA. And Rui's been fantastic for the Lakers. I mean, I still think about that one Western Conference Finals run they went on a couple years ago. Rui was absolutely playing his ass off in those series, and last year he was solid again. I mean, 13.5 points, 4.3 boards, and he was very efficient as well. Now, this is a player actually for the Bulls, Jared Vanderbilt. I would be cool with them keeping on the roster. He is a Swiss Army knife on defense. He can guard multiple positions, one of the best point of attack and wing defenders we have in the league, and he is coming off injury this past season, so it's going to be interesting to see how he rehabs from that. But, hey, with the Bulls kind of wing core right now, they don't really have any proven veterans, a bunch of young guys. You still got Buzelis, Julian Phillips, Terry, and Williams. Like, those guys are developmental pieces where you could add in a veteran like Vanderbilt who could really be one of the better defenders here on this team. But also, what about Jackson Hayes? Now, I would be, if the Bulls do make this deal, I would hope they would, trade Reaves, trade Rui in a following move after that. But I would be down with them keeping Jackson Hayes only if they were able to move off Nikola Vucevic, because obviously I don't think a Hayes, Jalen Smith center rotation is, moving the needle in the NBA by any means, but you would have 2 young centers, both play the game in different styles, where Jalen Smith is that stretch 4, stretch 5 type of big, and then Jackson Hayes is that rim-protecting lob threat type of center. I think the little yin and yang with their game could, complement each other very, very well. But, this trade overall, I mean, I like it. I don't love it. Obviously, the Bulls moving off Zach LaVine should be their top priority, heading into the start of the regular season. But hey, you guys let me know. Would you accept this deal? Give me an A for accept or a D for decline, or specifically if you're a Lakers fan. Really curious on your thoughts if you would take this deal for Zach LaVine. Let me know your thoughts down below. Now, I would take this deal in a heartbeat. Any deal that requires the Bulls moving off Zach LaVine where they aren't attaching their own future first-round picks, sign me up. I'm all in for it. But obviously, I would prefer picks over players. Like, you're getting a lot of good talent in this deal. I would love this move if, there was follow-up moves where you are trading Austin Reaves, where you are trading Rui Hachimura, and you're somehow getting first-round draft capital back in those deals. But, if the Bulls could move off LaVine, you guys know I would absolutely love it. So I would take this deal in a heartbeat. But, if you disagree with me, let me know down below. Now, coming up next year on the program, we got to talk about a terrible Ayo Dosunmu trade that Bleacher Report floated out there, as I just think they're undervaluing how impactful he is out there on the basketball court. I'll give you guys my thoughts on that here in a second. But if you guys want to get some Bulls merchandise before the season gets underway, that's a link right there, chatsports.com/BullsCombo. They have a 2 t-shirt pack, 20% off right now. I got this last summer. They are awesome t-shirts. I rock them all the time. So if you guys want to rep your Chicago Bulls this summer and obviously during the regular season, click this link, chatsports.com/BullsCombo. So this was the trade idea that Bleacher Report floated out there. It was the Bulls receiving Pat Connaughton and a 2031 first-round pick swap. And that's on me. They're supposed to say Ayo Dosunmu, but the Bucks would be receiving him in this deal. And from the Bucks' perspective, it's a steal. Like, why would the Bucks not do this? You get a defensive-minded guard next to Damian Lillard, who is obviously taking a step back in that department in the later half of his career. But I think they would complement each other very, very well. And, when I saw this trade floated out there, I don't think Bleacher Report really understands how good of a basketball player Ayo is. Now, the Bulls signed him to that 3-year, $33 million deal last offseason, and I honestly thought it was a perfectly valued contract for what Ayo did before he signed that deal. But what he did last year, he definitely upped his value. And, these stats were from the whole season, and in the first half of the season, he really wasn't getting too much tick with this Bulls team. But overall on the year, 12 points a game, 3 assists. He was a sniper from beyond the arc, shooting 40+% from downtown, and this was only in 30 minutes a game. But even going further on Ayo here, like the catch and shoot 3-point percentage, fantastic, 40.6. That's what you want for a complimentary, player in this unit. And then also pull up mid ranges, coming off pick and rolls, defenses and sag coverage. He can step up, knock down an open jump shot, getting to the rim. We know how good of an athlete he is. Shot that at 58.4%. And this is the stat I love the most for Ayo. Points per spot-up possession. He ranked in the 60th percentile in the entire league this past season, averaging 1.08 points per spot-up. Just a quick note about also heading into the season. I think Josh Giddey is going to open up a ton of opportunities for Ayo and Kobe White, as they are 2 of the best off-ball and catching or spot-up players in the entire league. But my take on Ayo here. So I think Ayo is a perfect modern day guard in the NBA. He can guard multiple positions. He's a physical basketball player. He can knock down open shots, and he plays within the flow of the offense. And I think guys like that are so valuable. I mean, take the Boston Celtics, for example. You saw with Derek White and Drew Holiday, and I think Ayo is almost like a poor man's version of those guys, where they can both guard, they can create for themselves, knock down open threes. And if Ayo, at still only 24 years old, could develop into that, hey, I would keep him on this roster. Now, I do want to unveil some Fetty rankings here. Now, I call Fetty players are guys who you could see hoisting the Larry O'Brien. Like, they are championship caliber players. And here are my rankings for the top 5 Fetty players on this Bulls team. Shockingly, I actually do have Ayo as number 1, and I actually do have Kobe White as number 2. Now, you may be saying, well, Kobe White's a significantly better basketball player than Ayo, and I totally hear that. I agree with you on that. But if I had to pick one player on this Bulls team, or maybe in 4 or 5 years from now, and they are part of a championship rotation here in Chicago, I would lean Ayo over Kobe White. But number 3 for me, I'm going Patrick Williams. Now, this is a lot of me kind of banking on his potential here, as he is a 6'7", 7-foot wingspan, 3-and-D player. Like, we know that archetype of basketball player in the NBA is incredibly valuable. I mean, we saw what Tatum, Brown, PJ Washington, what those 3-and-D wings did in the NBA Finals. Patrick Williams has that potential. And then I would have Modest Buzelis at number 4. I really am a believer in Modest. I think it's going to be a process with the Chicago Bulls, but, I'm a big believer in his game. He's just going to put on more size, and also would love for him to maybe get a game out of the post, as he is a very physical, athletic basketball player. I think that's where he would honestly thrive in the NBA. But, I got Buzelis at 4, and then I got Jalen Smith at 5. Now, I did not put like the likes of, obviously Vooch, LaVine on this, as, I think they're going to be on the or off the roster, latest by the NBA trade deadline. But these are the 5 guys I have right now. But, point being, the Bulls don't really have any untouchable players on their roster, even though if I had to choose one guy, it would probably be Ayo. But I do want to show show the hometown kid some love on today's show. Type his jersey number down below in the comments section, as, NBA media, these other media companies are just not understanding how impactful Ayo is out there on the basketball court. So show him some love. Type those 12s down below. Now, if you guys also want more Bulls content on your Twitter timeline, that's my handle right there, @PatSieps. If you guys give me a follow over there, I'll give you guys a follow right back. But thank you guys so much for watching today's show. See you guys next time. Go Bulls.